yeah, it was definitely a adjustment just because I get bored with myself a lot and I have to reinvent the image all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I feel you. Cool. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
of course. Thank you for even letting me interview you, little old me.
Oh, no problem. This will be awesome.
Yes. So, happy Valentine's weekend. How's the family?
Everyone is good, thank you. Everything is like still super locked down here, so like not really many opportunities to go out and do something on it. But I'm gonna see if I can find a place to maybe go get some food with Kate, and we got the kiddos like little Valentine's Day stuff, and we're just hanging out. So,
That sounds fun.
what
Yeah, we're
about you?
locked down. We're pretty locked down over here. I think we're still like the epicenter because I'm like in LA County, so we're still like the
Okay.
epicenter of the virus. So I was planning on just getting my family little Valentines. I already sent my dad and his girlfriend some roses. Sent my mom a
Nice.
little arrangement. So now I'm just gonna treat myself, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a heart shaped pizza.
There you go. Yeah, I've been seeing those like advertised. Those look awesome.
So, what are some things that you've been reflecting on while being locked away at home?
Um, well, for me, it's just been trying to be like present in life and not be so focused on things that I can't control. That's been like a major thing. I've been trying to just not like let the world outside affect me, and try to just focus on what I can do, and that is, getting a little bit of work done here and there, and just trying to be like a rock for the family, because it's crazy out there. So you got to keep your head together.
Yes, I love to hear that because you've also been a rock for like the SWS family. Like, I don't know, we all just look forward to your motivational tweets. I know I look forward to them because there are some days where I wake up and I'm like, should I choose violence today or should I?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
should,
I wake up and I almost like just tweet it for myself too, just because there's days where I wake up and I don't want to like get up and do anything, and I feel like if I can do it, then everyone else can. It's like one of those things where you just have to force yourself to get motivated, even if it's not like in the forefront of your mind. So
speaking it into existence, definitely. So,
yeah.
have you acquired any new hobbies or gotten in touch with old ones? Like, what have you been up to, really?
So I've been doing a lot of guest vocal stuff, and that's been keeping me kind of afloat and keeping the gears moving in my brain as far as like being able to be creative. And it's awesome to be able to hear all the talented artists out there that are making like really cool songs, and to just kind of jump on and lend my voice and be a part of it.
Right.
Sometimes I write my part, sometimes it's already written, sometimes I write a whole song with them. So it just kind of depends. And it's been nice because I haven't been able to do that with my band, and I haven't even seen those guys for like a year. So I think in mid March we're planning on maybe going to the studio if
Nice.
it's safe to travel, and all of that. But hopefully we can start working on a new record. So
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna ask you about that. Like, what's brewing for Sirens? I'm super excited. I know I'm still streaming How It Feels to Be Lost every day.
mhm.
That's a great top tier album. But
Thank you.
like, what can we expect next? Like, what's coming up for you guys?
It's really hard to say just because we haven't made that initial step into the studio. And the way I work with writing songs for Sleeping with Sirens is I kind of have to get like an initial vibe from the rest of the guys musically. And it kind of like sparks, like lyrics and melody from my standpoint. So it's been interesting because it's like, what do you write about right now? And I know that the last album was pretty like, um, it was coming from a place of like finding yourself and being like at a low. So I really want this new record to be more of a place of actually finding yourself and being in a place of forgiveness, and just like um, I don't know. I want it to be like a more positive album and not so much a darker, like kind of like sad one, without it sounding like pop punk. So as long as I can make that happen, then that's the goal.
I'm excited for that. So I know that there's always been like a bounce between themes in the album. So that's like something I really like. But I also want to ask you about like the collaborations you've been doing with other bands recently. Like I just love hearing that you're just throwing collabs everywhere. It'll pop up on Spotify. I'm just like, this guy's just literally doing everything. So what's been your
Yeah.
favorite like collaboration since you've been like in quarantine just doing music?
Oh man, there's so many. But I really like that Magnolia Park song. I like that Lonely Spring song. I like the Echoes song. I like the stuff that I do with Julian for Loveless is awesome, and he and I have been working a lot together on Downer stuff and collaborating on his stuff. So, um, I mean, every week there's like a new one. Like I'm working on this one for this band called True North right now that I'm really into. So there's always new and exciting stuff coming through. And like I said, there's just so many talented artists out there that I'm just happy that I'm able to kind of shine the light and lend my voice to it.
Nice. And then I really like your collaboration with Sunday Friend Last Time.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
That is such a good song. What was the inspiration behind that?
So he sent me like the music for that and just kind of let me run with it on the lyrics and the melody side. And I felt like the music was drawing me to write like a love song, and I feel like I haven't written one of those in a while. So I was like, ooh, I get to kind of like talk about that. And it was nice. I think it came across really, really well. And I think it's like a sweet and cute song. I like it.
I know I was listening to it yesterday and I was like, this is such a cute like Valentine's vibe. It makes me want
Yeah.
somebody like
I'll have to post that again for Valentine's Day then and just kind of like let that song go out. That's a good
that
idea.
definitely. You said a while back that you were learning some instruments. How's that going?
So it was going really well, and then it kind of took like a little bit of a standstill for me right now. There's been like a lot of crazy stuff going on, and so it's like it's hard to balance like the school and like playing an instrument. And I think like for a month or so I was putting like learning guitar and stuff over everything else to the point where it was probably like a little obsessive. And that's kind of the way I am. I'm like, when I learn something new, I'm like kind of obsessive compulsive about it. And then I either lose interest or I keep going with it. So I need to pick my guitar back up and start playing again. Long story short.
I agree. I was the same way. I basically bullied my mom into buying me a guitar when I was in like the ninth grade because I was
Yeah.
that me and a few friends wanted to start a band. We didn't end up doing it only because yeah, I was an athlete and all of that. Well, the sun,
Yeah.
that was crazy. um, but yes, pick that guitar up. I would love to see that on stage. That would be super dope.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know if I'm confident enough for that yet, but I definitely, and I you know what, I was planning on learning a lot more when I got together with the rest of the guys in my band and having them kind of show me some things, because I feel like you can only learn so much on your own, like with the internet and stuff, and you need somebody to like kind of motivate you, keep you going.
Definitely. But how do you think you've progressed as a songwriter since the start of like the pandemic and everything?
Um, I think that I'm doing all right. I I think that like the stuff that I've been working on, people seem pretty happy with it, and so that makes me stoked. As far as like what I feel like other people think, that's not really up for me to decide. It's like up for them to decide. So we'll see, I guess, when I go in to make the new Sirens record and see how that turns out.
Well, I have been enjoying Downer Inc. a lot. I,
Thank you.
Letdown has been on repeat. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. But what has it been like the recording process, being at home instead of like, the full experience like in a studio?
Um, yeah, recording at home has been like a fun challenge to like learn how to do it and to like figure out how to like use Logic on my computer and record vocals and stuff. And luckily, I have somebody like Julian who can like edit my vocals and like mix them in and make them sound good. So really, all I have to worry about is knowing how to use the program well enough to track my vocals, and then I get to send them off. So that's been nice. But I enjoy like the camaraderie of being in the studio with a producer and the band and all that, and I miss that a lot. Um, so, but it is nice to like be able to track your vocal, and then if you don't like it, go back and track it again and track it again without having to, like, I always end up saying sorry a lot in the vocal booth with the producer, which you shouldn't have to, but I'm always just like, oh, sorry, and he's like, dude, it's fine. Like, I don't take as many takes as a lot of people, but I still always say sorry when I screw up.
Don't say sorry. Honestly, your albums wouldn't be what they were if we didn't have those moments. Truly.
Yeah, true.
Of studio time, I just saw my brother in the studio for the first time. And I've never like, I used to go to the studio a lot when I was little because my dad worked on music and he used to do stuff with Snoop Dogg like all the time.
Oh,
So
sweet.
yeah, so I used to be in the studio setting a lot, but I would never like watch. I'd be somewhere watching TV or eating food.
Yeah.
But I saw my brother do it and I was just like, why is this so many takes? And then I understand now watching it. Like there's no like good one take. Sometimes you gotta do it in a couple. Unless
Yeah, absolutely.
unless you're like Aretha Franklin, she used to say she's hopped in the booth, one take, gone. That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean, sometimes I feel like sometimes that can happen if you really, like, sometimes the first take is the best take, you know? Especially if you can go through like an entire song, or if you know, a lot of people break it up into parts. So it just kind of depends on the song. But so there's been a few acoustic songs we've done where it's like you go all the way through, and I've done a couple in one take because just the emotion is there for it. So
Can I know which ones?
I think like which ones I'm thinking of are like when we did the live acoustic gossip revamp songs, like One Man Army and stuff, like those ones were, a couple of those were one takes.
That's dope. So, Cheers turns 10 this year in May,
Mhm.
and that's freaking crazy because that's my favorite album. So like what are some of your favorite memories regarding that album and like, you know, just the creative process with it?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we recorded that album in Portland, and before we went to the studio to record it, the guys came to my hometown of Medford, and I was supposed to find us a place to live and record on a budget. And so I ended up finding a storage unit, which you're not supposed to sleep and stay in. And and it's metal and like cold inside, and it was like during the winter, and so Justin and the rest of the guys set up like this, almost like they put this plastic sheet, like different layers of sheets, like plastic sheets up everywhere. And then they had kerosene lamps in there that would heat it up. But the kerosene lamps smelled like kerosene. So they ended up staying with me at my very small apartment at the time, and all sleeping on the floor. And it was a lot of fun having all of them in there in that small space. And then in Portland, when we were working on the record with Chris Crummett, it was like kind of in a dodgy part of town. And he told us that the week before there was like a homeless guy that would come, and he'd be sleeping on the steps like every morning. And one morning he came outside and the guy was sleeping there, and he came back later on the afternoon, he was still there, and he thought it was strange. And then like later in the night he was still there, and it ended up the dude just like died, I guess, like on the front porch like a few days before we got there. So that's pretty crazy.
I'm like, what? I was just expecting him like, oh yeah, he just set up shop there. But a storage unit.
Yeah, no, he passed away like on the studio steps like a week before we got there, and he was like telling us the story, and I'm like, crazy. And that was like before like Portland was like super like, I mean, there's a lot of homeless people that are there now, and it's nuts. And even in Medford where I live, there's a lot of homeless people, and um it's become like, it's become this thing that you can't ignore, you know? Like, and I know that LA has a lot too, but but it was just like a crazy experience being in Portland, and like being like in that city because I hadn't been there so long, and just seeing like all of the different aspects of it and making a record there. And I think that's why Cheers turned out the way it was, because it was so kind of like dreary and dark and rainy, and like all of those things kind of came through on the album.
Yeah, I agree, but the homelessness problem has definitely spread into other
Nuts.
areas. It's literally crazy. I live in San Dimas, so it's about 40 minutes from LA, and this is considered one of like the nicer areas, like quote unquote. So it's like homelessness isn't really a big issue, but I've seen so many more people just since the pandemic started, like people getting put
Yeah.
out because of like, you know, the rent crisis and all this stuff. Like it's just really bad right now, and I feel like that's why I don't know. I just try my best to do my part too. Like, if they're selling something or if they're asking for a meal, especially because I see a lot of children, and it just breaks my
Yeah.
heart. I don't know how to handle
Yeah,
it.
it's become like something you can't ignore, and I think that it's like if there are ways that we can help, like I think that it's important that we do so. Like I was thinking that maybe every other week or so, like I know there's a couple spots where they all kind of camp out and there's like tents everywhere, and I was thinking maybe like every other week if it's possible for me to like go and get a bunch of hot and ready pizzas and just drop them off, so they have food to eat, just something like that. So
I feel like that's something the fandom would be into too. If there was just like a really big thing put together, like it's so easy
yeah,
for us to come together with literally anything. I've seen the impossible. put we've put the
that's
impossible
true.
together
Yeah.
quite a few times. But back to Cheers. What's your favorite song on there? I just want to know that.
Oh, Fire for sure is my favorite song on there. I think that that song was just like an emotional roller coaster, and like the music and everything that really brought that song to life. With Jack, it was one of those songs that kind of wrote itself, and so I know that that's probably Jack's favorite song too. But I love that song so much.
Oh, it's definitely an emotional roller coaster. I have had several days where I've just had to scream that entire song. Me and my
Yeah,
brother, we do that together. That's just my brother's like my right hand. So every single thing I'm into, like he'll just support or do it with me. And
that's
sometimes
cool. Yeah, Fire is awesome. I love that one. Obviously, I have like a special place for If You Can't Hang. That's like a song that will always play. And then Do It Now, Remember It Later was like one of my favorite music videos to record. We had a lot of fun doing that one. And what else? Yeah, like the title track on that album is one that we don't play very often, but I think it's one that we should probably start doing. And I did like a cameo for someone today, and one of the questions was, what's a song that you'd see doing like re-recording if you could? And I thought PS Missing You off the first album, and Let's Cheers to This from this album, like in acoustic form, would be really, really cool.
that would. And honestly, I don't think I've heard Fire live personally. Not
Yeah,
anyway.
we don't play it often, but hopefully, we there's been talks about possibly doing like a anniversary tour, or like a few select shows for it. So maybe that's something that we'll do when touring comes back.
Oh, yes, I look forward to it. But around other albums, I'm a huge fan of like the Punk Goes Pop albums. If you
Yeah.
could redo any pop song right now, which one would it be and why?
Ooh, it's a good one. I would probably do like a Sia song because it's my daughter's favorite recording artist. She like loves Sia, so I think like maybe one of those songs like Elastic Heart would be really cool or something like that, and kind of give it like a new life for her sake. But she probably wouldn't. She probably would end up making fun of it or something and saying it's not as good as the original. But still, I think like one of those songs would be awesome.
I love hearing her opinions on like Sleeping with Sirens music. I just remember the live you did where you guys were rating your videos. That is literally one of my favorite lives I've ever watched. She's hilarious.
Yeah, she loves to jump in and weigh her opinions for sure.
Nice, but we need her to make a playlist because she has taste. And then,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be
I want it.
okay.
And then on Twitter, you said Madness is your favorite album. Can you just dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so for a few reasons. Number one, we made an album that we ended up scrapping in Nashville, and we were in like this place of just what are we going to do, because we spent all this money on an album and it didn't come across the way we wanted it to, and it didn't feel like the right release for us. And we had been talking to John Feldman, who's made like some of my favorite albums like Page Avenue, Story of the Year, and they use self-titled. um so getting to go in with him and try a song, we ended up doing Kick Me, and that was like the first song we did together, and it just felt so right that I was like, we need to go in and do a whole album. And the experience was a blast. I had a lot of fun making that album. It really turned like a bad experience into a really positive experience, and I think that that album cycle and like the songs that we played live on like Warped Tour and stuff like that, like all of those things ended up being really, really good experiences for the band. So that album just has like a really special place in my heart. And also doing the Kick Me video with a bunch of fans in the UK, and then also incorporating them in the Strays video was like a huge milestone for us. So
I think the coolest part about the Strays video that you did with fans, if I recall correctly, wasn't it like a thing where they could submit videos with like a hashtag or something? Was that the one?
um no, I don't think so. We shot it like somewhere in the UK, and oh, maybe they did submit to be in the video.
Okay.
Maybe you're right about that. I don't remember. It's been so long ago, but there's a ton of people involved in it, and just getting to hang out with them on the set during the day was so much fun.
Oh, I think I'm thinking of Legends. People were
Yeah.
posting videos to be put in the video with the
Yes.
Legends hashtag. That's what I remember. But that was really cool because I was scrolling through that hashtag for like hours just looking at everyone. It's so fun. I just love being a part of the fandom. um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's fun. But you're a person that dives into many different projects, and I really loved when you did Anthem Made, the fashion, the clothing line. So is there ever a
Yeah.
chance to rebrand it or revamp it? Like where are we going with that?
Um, it was a hard experience just because like I was so busy doing music stuff and being on the road that like literally like the partner that I was working with had to handle like all of the other aspects like the shipping and stuff. And it got to a point where it was just kind of like it either needed to grow into like a huge warehouse because we couldn't keep doing it DIY because it was growing so big that people weren't getting like their orders and stuff fulfilled, and I was getting so many tweets like, "Hey, where's my order? I ordered it like 3 weeks ago," and stuff. And I just felt like it became this thing where it was like too much to handle. And for me, as much as I enjoy like making fashion stuff, it was just something that I wasn't giving 100% to. And if I can't give 100% to something, I don't want to like do it, you know? So I'm not saying that it's not something that I wouldn't be interested in doing again at some point, but for now, I think just doing what you can with what you can and just doing it 100% is the most important thing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I've seen a lot of small businesses just everywhere being started. My mom even started a small business. She makes custom dominoes. And
Oh,
that's
cool.
she made me some Laker ones. So my Laker ones are coming because I like to have game nights with my roommates and my best friend because we all get tested frequently. So I'll just be like, hey, let's come over, let's play some
Yeah,
poker, do dominoes. Like, I don't know. So she made,
yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, it's fun. So I know the work that goes into small businesses, especially now. She calls me every single day, like, I have like 7 orders. I'm the only one doing this. And yeah, she's freaking
Yeah,
out.
it's a lot.
Yeah, I get it. But which Sirens tour was your favorite?
I really enjoyed being on tour with the Good Charlotte guys, just because Benji and Joel are two dudes that I look up to a lot, and just being able to uh, do keep swinging with those guys on stage and watching them perform and who they are is like a really awesome experience. So I'd say probably touring with those guys would be my favorite, and then I also enjoy the shows that I've gotten to do with like the Pierce the Veil guys and doing King for a Day has always been a really awesome thing. It seems like ages ago that that's happened, but I did enjoy going out on stage and doing that.
Those were so fun. I remember that tour. I was like way in the back, but it was still so much fun. The energy, I don't know, there's just a certain energy that comes with you guys' shows and Pierce the Veil too. So I just feel like that their immediate fan base and you guys' immediate fan base, like it was a party. It was
Yeah,
really
yeah. Fun.
Yeah, speaking of tour, I know there's like uncertainty with the pandemic and stuff, but if the world magically opened up tomorrow, what would your dream tour day be like?
Our dream tour day. Waking up with Nick and going to get some coffee, probably, or breakfast somewhere. He always finds like the best breakfast spots. So doing that, coming back, um, maybe getting a little run in depending on the weather. I like to do a little exercising before starting the day, and then just enjoying like, and it's funny because you take this stuff for granted, but sound check sounds really nice, and it's not something that I always look forward to. Waking up and going on stage and singing, and in the venue, all the other bands are setting up their stuff. It's always kind of like an awkward feeling, but right now it sounds really nice. And then honestly, just that moment before you go on stage where you've got like those nerves and those good butterflies in your stomach before walking out on stage, I really miss that.
Oh man, you still get butterflies? You.
Oh, every time. Yeah, every time.
You know, I'd love to see it. But this is my final question, and
Okay.
I better get a freaking answer this time.
Okay.
NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet Boys.
Oh. I waited so long for this. I was like, me and Sarah always talk about this all the time. She's like, if he chooses the Backstreet Boys, what are we gonna do? I was like,
Yeah, I just chose the Backstreet Boys because it's the most unobvious answer, probably. Like most everyone would choose NSYNC, but I'm choosing the Backstreet Boys because they're the outcasts.
Not really. I feel like I find more Backstreet Boys fans than I do NSYNC. Whenever I say NSYNC, they're like Justin Timberlake, nose in the air, like.
Yeah, I don't know. My sister loved the Backstreet Boys, so I always had like those songs were going. She loved NSYNC too, but I don't know. I feel like the Backstreet Boys were a little bit darker, had like a little bit more edge, you know?
They did. They were kind of like the bad boys of pop. So,
Yeah,
I think NSYNC had a little more of a cookie cutter image, like, we're gonna do your Christmas album for you, and we're gonna do all these appearances
right.
on talk shows. But yeah, the Backstreet Boys are kind of just like, yeah, we just work here. So I see it. I feel
Yep.
it. Well, that's all my questions. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope you have an amazing weekend and a good Valentine's Day. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you on the Twitter.
Oh yeah, you can't really get rid of me. I'm kind of annoying on Twitter.
No, you're not.
Oh, thanks. Well,
Well,
thank you so much for talking to me. You have a good rest of your day, and happy Valentine's Day to the fam.
thanks, Dee.
Bye.